So what is a die-line? Well, it's how something that intends to be folded and assembled to be 3D looks before it's 3D, when it's flat. If you imagine yourself completely opening and flattening an Amazon parcel, that is essentially the way a die-line looks. So of course, because in most cases we can't 3D print packaging, it has to be designed in a flat format and later assembled. And Refined Packaging does a really nice job on this blog post here of explaining what a die line is with some examples. And I like this summary they've given. In the packaging and printing world, a die line is a template that ensures that the design of a physical package is laid out correctly before going to production. It is a flat diagram with markings indicating where the package's fold and cut lines are. So that summarizes it really nicely. They've got some examples here where they show you the object kind of mostly constructed, and then you have the deconstructed die line on the right. And the more you look at these, the more you'll start to figure out which portions translate to which. They also provide a really nice guideline to creating these in Illustrator, which we'll do ourselves later on in the class. But I'll share the link to this blog post because it might make useful further reading if you want to dive in a bit deeper. And this is another website that I'll share a link to. This is diecuttemplates.com, and they provide you with, and you do have to pay to actually download the usable die line, but they provide you with these pre-prepared for a very, very wide range of boxes and styles, some fairly complex ones. So this is a useful resource. If you didn't want to create that from scratch yourself, you could just use one they've prepared from you here. And I'm sure you can find other resources online where you're able to find the same. So while we can create a simple flat label and adhere that to the front of a glass votive for our candle glass, for the box, we want to do something that should look a little more premium, and by not sticking labels on, by actually printing directly onto the box, that will have a higher end feel. But it means we have to create a blueprint of sorts for the printer to use. Now for this class, we'll actually work on conceptualizing and designing the individual elements, then working on them in 3D first, and we'll circle back at the very end to building our die line. So why work this way around? Shouldn't we start with a die line first? Well, an advantage of starting with a die line can be the precision you're able to work with, the ease of swapping things out, and the fact that when the concept's signed off, you don't have to go and begin constructing that from scratch. But the problem is, it really takes experience to get your head around the way those 2D elements are going to fold and come together. And because your client also likely doesn't have that experience, it can be hard for your client looking at a 2D die line to really get an appreciation of the way the concept's going to work in practice. So I've found working with the individual pieces, then testing things out in 3D can work better for both the designer and the client. And that's the workflow we're going to use in this class. So we understand what a die line is, we understand how we're going to use it, but for now, let's get started with our first element, which is a logo for our candle.